your Gulf Coast Sports Minute. I'm JP. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is allowing youth leagues to start practice next week, which is great news for many leagues we have in the area. We have seen some parks removing the bleachers next to fields to continue practicing social distancing. In recruiting news, Coach Shinnick and the UWF Argos picked up a big-time transfer with former Mercer wide receiver David Durden. Durden was a 2018 FCS third-team All-American and last season led the Bears with 45 receptions for 647 yards and 4 touchdowns. Durden joins Key Wetzel, the former Oregon State linebacker of Argos, looking to be an impact right away. In high school recruiting news, interest for Pensacola Catholic star Demarius McGee is heating up. The 2021 recruit, McGee, has over 27 offers at this time, including Georgia, Florida State, Tennessee, Ole Miss, and Oklahoma. McGee just recently got an offer to play in the most prestigious high school game, the U.S. Army All-American Bowl. A game played on NBC pits the top 100 seniors against each other. For your Gulf Coast Sports Minute, I'm JP.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Are you looking to hire an IT specialist or a logistics expert, a medical technician, or a security professional? Well, there are some very qualified candidates out there. America's Wounded Warriors. These men and women returning from battle are eager to get back to life at home and a good job. Some have wounds you can see, and some have wounds you can't see, like post-traumatic stress disorder. For these accomplished professionals, Wounded Warrior Project has developed the Warriors to Work program, a career counseling service that helps wounded warriors translate their military experience to the civilian workplace. These warriors have world-class job skills and a unique perspective on teamwork. And to ensure proper placement for each individual, Wounded Warrior Project works with employers to find just the right candidate for the job. When your company is looking to hire talented, highly trained employees, contact Wounded Warrior Project at findwwp.org. Welcome home the brave.
Looking for future leaders we can believe in? Look no further than the high school student athletes right here in Florida. High school sports teach young people how to be effective leaders. It includes learning to listen, accepting responsibility, being a good role model, and it's about respect. The result, it transcends sports. It gives us hope for the future. This message presented by the Florida High School Athletic Association and the Florida Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
If you are a collector, investor, or just an avid sports fan, then listen up. Coins, sports cards, and racing collectibles in Gulf Breeze has one of the largest sports memorabilia collections in the area, with new inventory arriving weekly. If Hot Wheels is your thing, they have that too, with old, new, and special edition models to choose from. At Coins, sports cards, and racing collectibles, you can buy, sell, or trade. Located on Highway 98 in Gulf Breeze, Coins, sports cards, and racing collectibles is the place to go to collect either for fun or to invest for profits.
Pensacola's own NFL Hall of Famer Emmitt Smith has some tips for us during this time.
This fight is up to all of us to try to help bend that curve. It's going to take teamwork. It's going to take us to stay committed, stay focused, and stay dedicated to the mission at hand, and that is to keep everyone safe. So be encouraging. Find some support. Find someone to talk to every day to encourage them to keep on continuing in this fight. And we will beat this pandemic.
This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gullick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, Sports Call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
The following has been produced by Talk Football LLC. Former Florida Gators quarterback, NFL quarterback, and NFL head coach. Coach K. Stevenson has a resume second to none, and now he's sharing his insider information with you. Talk Football with Coach K starts right now on ESPN Pensacola.
Welcome in to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL head coach K. Stevenson. On this Friday afternoon, weekend's right around the corner. Things are opening back up. We're getting great signs. Listen, we hope all of you listening to us, we appreciate you joining us first off, but you're staying safe, doing well, and continuing to practice social distancing. Big Memorial Day weekend coming up. I know the beaches are probably going to be packed, but remember, continue to practice social distancing and all that. And listen, as we always start off the show, we'll continue to do this. I want to thank our first responders and healthcare workers at this time, putting themselves on the front lines each and every day. And once again, as I mentioned, we are a proud military town with, of course, bases all around the area here. But we love our military. They understand about being on the front lines, and this is a little bit different of a front line here, especially in our community. What these people do each day it's so special. And like I said, I have friends and family that are a part of both of these, and just the support that they get from the community is fantastic. Awesome to see, awesome to hear about, and great signs moving forward as well. And listen, I want to talk about the essential workers out there, grocery store employees. Maybe you're a truck driver bringing supplies in. Maybe you're a restaurant that's been open this entire time. Well, look, if you're essential, you know who you are, and we know who you are, and we want to thank you. We want to send a shout out to you as well. In a time that is normal is not a word we're going to use, you brought a little bit of normalcy to it. And we appreciate it. We appreciate, look, we're so happy that things are starting to open back up. Restaurants and gyms, barbershops, whatever it may be, things are starting to get back to normal, but we have to use caution as we continue to move along. But listen, first things first, Coach, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing well, JP, and certainly want to echo your shout out there to all the first responders and those people that have worked so hard to make sure that people have enough to eat and all the other necessities of life. We thank them very much. Can't say enough about it.
Absolutely. It goes without saying, in a time like this, for a lot of people, it brought out the best in a lot of people, and it was great to see people step up and do things they didn't have to do, from churches to organizations to just the general public giving. I mean, that's what I love about this place here in Pensacola. We're a tight-knit group. We all love each other, and look, we really come together and did a great job, and that's why we're at the point where we're at now. Listen, we're here to talk some football, obviously. 850-623-1330 is the number. Give us a call. Let us know what's on your mind. Maybe it's something we're talking about. Maybe it's something else football-related that you want to know about. We're going to try to hit a little bit of everything here today in such a little bit of time. Coach, I want to start here. Look, the NFL, of course, came out with some rules that they're talking about doing now. Maybe you've heard of this one in the XFL. Maybe I'm wrong. The 4th and 15 rule. We saw the XFL do this, of course, from the 25-yard line. Now, yesterday it talked about it, but they also mentioned in their language, in the writing here, that you had to be behind. You had to be trailing the team you were playing in order to do this. Okay, well, before we get started in this, for people that want to scoff at the 4th and 15 rule, I do want to just make note. Now, it may not sway you one way or the other, but the onside kick, 6% of onside kicks were recovered last year, and that's the lowest it's been in league history ever. I just want to make that very clear for people, just to understand where this is coming from. Now, we saw the XFL do this, Coach. 4th and 15, it was exciting. Listen, I'm not saying in the NFL we're moving to 1, 2, and 3-pointers instead of kicking extra points. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is I actually kind of like this rule. It brings a little more excitement from a fan perspective. But, Coach, I want to get a coach perspective on the 4th and 15 from the 25. Do you like this more than the onside kick rule?
It's a drastic departure, and people are going to have to get used to that, and you're going to have to coach it totally different. So you'll have, as part of your package, you will rehearse that situation in case you have to utilize it. But I can see the advantage there, and I can see also a downside, especially if you're ahead in the ball game and you're giving somebody a chance to make a play when they're supposed to be kicking off to you. So I would be torn right now between the two. I'd hate to be ahead of the ball game and see somebody's got a chance to complete some pass or have a guy jump up over my guy and bring one down and keep going and win the ball game when he's supposed to be kicking off to me. It's just it'd be a tough way to go. So I'm mixed at this moment. I got to be honest with you. I'm not going to jump on that one way or the other. I'm just not certain on it, and I'm just not sure which way I would go.
And, Coach, that's why I, of course, consult to you here, because from a fan perspective, it seems more exciting. But listen, it's not just always about the fan in this. There's a lot more that gets involved, and that's why I wanted to ask you, just because of the coaching side of that. That's what I had a feeling that this is going to be tough. And, look, teams, whether you want to admit it or not, yeah, it's 4th and 15, but teams like Kansas City and certain other teams like that, can you imagine Tom Brady with Gronk just throwing across the middle? I mean, just the unfair advantage it can create for certain teams for the certain ways they play. You know, not everybody's built to be able to convert a 4th and 15. And what I mean by that is I understand that, look, it's still 4th and 15, but it's going to be interesting to see how this is perceived across the board here. But nonetheless, as a fan perspective, I'm sure people are excited about it. But coaching, that's a little bit different.
Well, that depends. It depends on which side of the stadium your fans are sitting on. If they're ahead, they don't like it at all. if they're behind, they like it. So I think that would, just like I talked about a minute ago, I think there'd be a lot of fans that would say, "Oh, why would somebody have a chance to pull a basketball play here or some quarterback break out and run for 15 yards and have a chance to keep going?" I don't know, but I would certainly think that fans would be a little concerned if they're ahead, and rather than getting the kickoff and tempted onside, they get one play. I don't know. It's a little debatable.
Yeah, well, Coach, I understand that. It's for that, and I say this from the outside looking in before. Now, if I was a Titans fan and this happened, I can assure you, we don't break away from too many teams. We play some tight defensive style football games, so I would be worried. I would not be in favor of this, but just overall looking at it is interesting. But one other thing that they're thinking about implementing here for preseason games to give it a try, Coach. I think we've mentioned this before, and look, the talks are back up now because they're voting next week, but they're considering experimenting with a booth umpire, which basically they're calling a sky judge in this. Now, Coach, you mentioned it as well when we talked about before the show. This is simply what the XFL did as well. It's basically a way to counter, them going up to taking too long for reviews and things like this. Coach, when you look at this, do you like this sky judge that they're just trying this? They said they're going to possibly try it in preseason. Do you think it's a good idea moving forward?
I do. I don't see anything wrong with it. What's the difference? If you've got somebody up there that can make a decision, and most of the time, 9-10% of the time, they can make a decision, why not just do it? You cut down on the time, and I think it's a better way to go. Certainly they should look at anything that would help in that area.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Look, we saw the XFL, and once again, talking about the XFL, we mentioned earlier in the week that Vince McMahon is looking to possibly buy the XFL out of, bankruptcy. No surprise with Vince McMahon and what's going on there. But the XFL, we know there's a market for it, but especially when you look at the rules that are going on here, these are a couple of rules that, look, the XFL's tried out. And, look, NFL took notice on it. So going to be interesting. I liked it. I think it's good because anytime we can prevent ourselves from having to go to New York and back and forth and prolong the game and things like this, I think it's not going to hurt. I like the way they utilized it in the XFL. But, Coach, talking a little college football here. Now, look, we're expecting the SEC. We're awaiting to hear. I know they're supposed to meet today. Not sure exactly what time. I believe it's in about an hour or so here. They're going to convene. They're going to meet. They're going to talk about whether they're going to vote on whether players come back June 1st or June 15th. Now, there is an option that the players couldn't come back then, but it's very, very, very unlikely. We've heard from a bunch of coaches talking about they expect them to come back in June. So I want to make note of that for SEC fans. You already know, I'm sure you're waiting to hear just like we are, but Louisville and the ACC. Now, the ACC is one of the conferences that has kind of slowed their roll a little bit. Now, remember for the ACC, for people that say, well, why haven't they done it if the SEC has? Well, the ACC has some teams that are up the coast a little bit. So they can't necessarily make it across the board like the SEC is down here. Up north, it's a little bit different story. So Louisville is the first team in the ACC to allow workouts starting June 8th. So they're coming back June 8th. They've got they said they have coronavirus testing and protocols in place to ensure a safe environment. Coach, I saw a article today, of course, by Brett McMurphy that said he had talked to 45 random college football players. Now, so however accurate this is, that 36 of the 45 were ready to come back, no questions asked, let's get back after it. So he did say there were some that were skeptical about coming back, but pretty much for the most part, all these players are wanting to come back. Is this kind of what we thought the consensus was going to be for these players? And, Coach, you've talked about it, that this is probably a safer avenue for them than being on their own.
Yeah, I'm surprised that all 45 didn't want to come back. I think I've heard some other people say, including, 2 or 3 on the morning shows, a couple of them have talked to players, and they all didn't have any that did not want to come back. So I'm surprised on that particular survey that all 45 did want to come back. And by the way, I think Coach O's already announced for the SEC when they're coming back.
Well, I just saw, I'm getting the information as we speak, Coach. The SEC presidents voted to reopen athletic facilities on June 8th. Now, I'm not sure, what that entails with everything else that's involved, but that's just what's popping up right now. That's the breaking news per se. I don't know what that means for June 1st. Now, that's just saying the athletic facilities. We'll see what all entails with that as we go along here. But interesting. This is something that we were, interested in talking about moving forward. Coach, while we get some more information here, this is something interesting. Now, a couple questions have been asked as well. Some friends of mine were interested in this. Cam Newton, now he posted a workout video, and he looked good. I will say he did look good out there. I think everybody knows he can play if he's healthy. But, Coach, a lot of people are wondering why he hasn't signed. Now, he has said that he is willing to be a backup, but he wants to be able to fight for a starting job. Well, there's a lot that goes involved in that. My personal opinion, Coach, is that's treacherous waters you're facing, because if you bring him in and he's not starting when he feels like he's better than the other guy, this could cause a big-time problem. Coach, why, in your opinion, why hasn't Cam Newton signed yet?
Well, I've pretty well stated that there's some things there that are very obvious and that people would be tremendously aware of. And we can start with the inability of teams to have their medical people give him an evaluation, a true evaluation based on their evaluation, not somebody else's, okay, which is what you'd have to have. The guy's had some injuries. He hasn't played much, and certainly last year and some the year before. Now, let me throw this out to you. There's also a great barometer on Cam Newton. If we're sitting around as a coaching staff and we're even thinking about the possibility of bringing him in, I don't think that any coaching staff would bypass mentioning that the Washington Redskins and Rivera and that coaching staff who had him during so-called good times and so on, he's available. And look at their situation. They've got a very unproven second-year quarterback who didn't have a very good rookie year. And they bring in their backup guy from Carolina. And that's their 2 quarterbacks right now. If they don't bring in Cam Newton, knowing him, you got to give it 3 and 4 double takes before bringing him in yourself. There's something that I think a number of staffs, a number of coaches would be looking at. Why doesn't Rivera bring him in? Well, certainly given the situation, because they have an unsettled quarterback situation in Washington. So if there was any doubt there, and he was available, with them knowing what they know about him, you would think they'd bring him in. So it must be that what they know is not the best of news, for bringing in the quarterback, bringing in him in particular. That's the way you have to look at it.
Yeah, I agree. There's so many question marks when you talk about Cam Newton, and it goes back to for the people that say, well, when he's healthy, he's really good. Well, for a guy like Cam Newton, it's not just the athletic ability. We understand that. There's so much more involved in that. And listen, Coach, I said it. I believe, I've said this for a while, that I believe that Cam Newton is just going to play the waiting game, and we'll see what happens. And maybe a quarterback, you hate to do it this way, but maybe a quarterback goes down, and maybe he plays that game of, all right, well, when they need me, they'll need me, and then they'll have to pay me. We'll see what happens to that. I don't. That's risky business, but regardless, Coach, we got to go to a break here. When we come back, Coach, we're going to talk a little bit more about our teams that had, some pretty good off seasons. We'll make a little bit of a top 5 list ourselves compared to some of the other lists, and we'll also talk about a sleeper team in the NFL, a team that you may not be on your radar right now, but they should be. We'll talk about that when we come back right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola. A little bit of a technical difficulty here as we move along. Coach, while I'm trying to get this situation fixed right here, I do want to mention one thing. Look, Sean Payton and Tom Brady had a little trash talk, of course, going back and forth. Playful trash talk, just for people that make sure people understand this. But for Sean Payton, he had texted Tom Brady and said, listen, we're going to quiet the cannons in week 1. Of course, Tom Brady was like, well, we'll see who the favorites are moving forward. My question to you, Coach, on this real quick. Look, of course, when you look at this matchup, we get it week 1. It's exciting enough as it is. But do you think that really, because remember, this game is in New Orleans, do you think that Tom Brady is going to be able to go into New Orleans week 1 with having the offseason they've had now and be able to upset the Saints? That's my question to you. Do you think it's going to happen week 1, or do you think the Saints are going to it's going to take some time to get the, I guess, Tampa Bay Gronkaneers going?
Okay, well, let's look at the facts here. You got to think that New Orleans is going to be favored, and rightly so. They've got that home crowd, which may not be a crowd, by the way, but they do have the advantage of having a staff that's been together and a quarterback that's been there, a number of people coming back that have played well for New Orleans, and they're a good football team. And they've added some talent through the draft and free agency, so they're going to be a better football team. But obviously you got to look at the fact that Tampa Bay, I think, has improved more than anybody. But it's going to be very difficult because they haven't really had the time. If you put everything into perspective on what New Orleans has right now going forward, and what Tampa Bay has missed in the way of preparation and continuity, you'd have to say that New Orleans is going to be a big favorite. But that doesn't mean they're going to win the ball game. I think it's going to be a heck of a ball game. It'll be a great game to watch. In fact, I predict that it'll be one of the highest rated games of the year. It's going to be huge. They're going to have a huge audience, television audience for that game. And think about the one later on in the year in Tampa. So these two games, I think, are Super Bowl type quality games. But it's going to be very interesting. I would hate to be a gambler and have a bet on this either way, because you're probably going to end up losing your money.
I'm with you on that, Coach. This is not a game week 1 that I would touch. I can't gamble anyway. That's just not good. I'm not going to get into that. But I think it's going to be interesting just because, this is one where I understand we can't have fans right now. We probably won't have fans for a little while. We'll see. But, man, this place, the Superdome would be rocking with Tom Brady coming in there, taking on the Saints for the first time, new uniform, new everything. That would just get chills thinking about it. I'm sure Saints fans do as well. But Listen, I think we've got it figured out, Coach. I think we're good to go here. When we come back from break, we're going to talk about, some of the teams that had the best off seasons. We're going to make a little bit of a list of our own here. And then a little bit later, we're going to talk about the sleeper teams in the NFL that you need to watch out for. If they're not on your radar, maybe they should be. We'll talk about that and more right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Sometimes your bank, your family, and your friends love you, but they don't have the money to help you. Sometimes we have chances to make money, but the old saying, you've got to have money to make money, rings true. At Pensacola Specialty Pond, we can help. If you have trucks, heavy equipment, airplanes, boats, jet skis, anything with value, Pensacola Specialty Pond can loan you that short-term money you need. No credit checks, and at Pensacola Specialty Pond, you're going to find the money and the discretion you need.
Now at 6428 Pensacola Boulevard, north of Car City. Call 432-9050, 432-9050.
We are strong, we are resilient, and we will get through this together. But these are stressful times, and it's important to also practice good self-care. It's normal to feel overwhelmed, anxious, or afraid, but there is hope. Reach out to someone, connect with your friends, stay in touch with your community, and know that you are not alone. Learn more at wearebroadcasters.com/hope, furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Welcome to Bo! Okay, hi, what are we doing today?
I need something that screams something fun. Nothing too on the face, nothing too off the face, but also totally hot.
So I have the perfect thing. It's the most food mullet. You're totally business in the front, but tailgate in the back. It's a fat party. People are having fun. Snap. All your friends are going to be like, whoa, awesome setup. Everyone else is going to be all jelly, okay?
Just like a killer mullet, Moe's Catering will turn the back of your ride into a tailgate party that's sure to turn some heads. Just order ahead and pick it up on your way.
Moe's Southwest Grill, now open in Pace on Highway 90 next to Publix grocery store.
There's only one name in town when it comes to afternoon local sports talk. The Sports Drive with Chad Brilliante.
Some athletes don't want to be given... nobody does. No, look, when you play with your pops as it gets older, one of the most embarrassing things... My daughter's 3. I just slam it right in her face right at the play school hoop. Like right there, like I'm Zion Williamson.
The games, the players, the fans. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
You can watch Coach K talk football live right now on our YouTube channel at ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL head coach Kay Stevenson. On this Friday afternoon, weekend's right around the corner. Hope everybody's doing well. We're talking some football with you as always. And Coach, look, I want to get back into this list here. One more team that, look, we're ranking the NFL off seasons from worst to first here. We went through a bunch of teams here on the list. Now, the last team we will talk about, and then I want us to kind of talk about our opinions on this list and make our own top 5 here. The Buffalo Bills. Now, this is, I think we actually have the same feelings on this, Coach. Look, I like what the Bills did. I think they, talking about what they, of course, the East this year without the Patriots, everybody wants to say the Bills are the favorite. I'm not a Patriot fan, to say the very least, and I still believe until Bill Belichick is upset, you don't take them off that pedestal right there. I think they still have a really good team coming back. I like Jared Stidham, but we're talking about the Bills here. Listen, they lost Shaq Lawson and Jordan Phillips. They left in free agency. They signed former Panthers Mario Addison and Vernon Butler. They added Quentin Jefferson. Then they got, of course, their top selection, A.J. Epineza. Look, a lot of people like him. And, one of the things that's looked as a positive here is Josh Norman. Now, they signed him to a one-year, $6 million deal. People saying, well, that'll change it. That'll turn it around with what Sean McDermott and company's been able to do. I personally don't think that Norman, he hasn't had a good year since 2015. You kind of overpaid a little bit there. But, look, the big thing was bringing in Stephon Diggs. Everybody said, look, they traded for Stephon Diggs. That's their guy. Now they've got their go-to wide receiver. Look, they have a quarterback coach, and I'm not trying to just negate the Bills. I think they're a good football team, but I think there's a lot of question marks in this. You got a quarterback in Allen that is very questionable. Look, I like him, but he's not there yet. He's a guy that you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, you don't know what he's going to do. He can run, but his accuracy is very suspect, to say the least. Now, of course, they picked up Jake Fromm, and it's not good whenever you pick up Jake Fromm, and people have mentioned that Jake Fromm may see action as early as maybe middle of the season or before that, depending on what Josh Allen's going to do, just because of what Jake Fromm is. Now, we'll see how he's going to translate into the NFL game. I think he'll be a good quarterback. I think he'll be a solid backup. But he is a winner. We know that he's a winner. But, Coach, drafting a guy like Zach Moss in the third round, I'm not against it. They brought back Frank Gore. Of course, Devin Singletary is their running back, and he's a good back. He's a good-looking back, but they drafted Zach Moss. They may have needed to go a little bit different direction. But regardless, Coach, when you look at this team, they still need some help in the secondary. Draft-wise, I thought they had an okay draft, but this is a team that I think there's a lot riding on Stephon Diggs in order to move them up the list here.
Okay, Buffalo, I'll tell you, I think they had an okay draft. I think they definitely overpaid for Stephon Diggs. There are a couple of people that I've talked to that say that a couple of the kids that were drafted in this year's draft receivers are a big upgrade over Diggs anyway. So they may have been better off if they wanted a receiver to draft one of these guys instead of going after Stephon Diggs. But be that as it may, that's what they have there. He'll be a fairly productive receiver, but the question still remains, do they have a quarterback that can get into football, him or anybody else? He can get it to him on occasion, but consistently, he's a very inaccurate quarterback. He lacks the accuracy that you need to thread the needle on some of those NFL-required passing tree routes, and it's just it's going to be difficult. They're a good football team, got an outstanding defense, and again, they help themselves some, but I don't think they have the quarterback, the overall offensive talent to get over the hump and get to the big one. But they'll be in contention, and like I've said before, it wouldn't shock me at all if Fromm ends up being the quarterback. Now they may be better, believe it or not, they may be better with Fromm than they are with Allen.
Yeah, I would say so. That's why I like Fromm. A lot of people question him. Look, bringing Matt Barkley back and then bringing Fromm back. Look, Barkley, don't worry about Barkley. He's just a glorified backup there. You hope he doesn't have to play. But Fromm is a guy, Coach, I think we agree. Look, we both like Fromm. He was a little negated in the draft. People talking about, well, he can't make all the throws. He can't do this. There's a lot of can'ts instead of, look, what he's been able to do at Georgia. And I think we both agree on this, that people want to talk about his final year at Georgia. Look at what he lost. This is a Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers style issue here. You take away his receivers, what's he supposed to do? And this is it's interesting enough that for Jake Fromm, through everything, people need to remember Justin Fields and Jacob Eason, they were sent packing because Jake Fromm was there. And for people saying, well, that's just because he was the coach's favorite. Okay, you can say what you want to, but a coach is going to save his job by putting the best player in that position. The coaches understand that you make one wrong decision, it can be deuces to you later on. So I think it's important to look at both of those guys and the success they had, and then look at Jake Fromm. There's more than meets the eye to Jake Fromm, Coach, and I go back to it. I think he is a heck of a person to have in a film room, just in your meeting rooms, and just in your locker room overall, because of his mentality, because of his personality, and just because of his work ethic, what he brings to your team.
Yeah, everything I've heard about him is that he double checks on all the intangibles. And while there may be a question or two about some of the measurables, people want to say, well, he's a little short. Well, for crying out loud, look around the league right now. You got to be kidding me. He's taller than some of the other starting quarterbacks that people think are great. And to boot, he's got a good arm. When they say they question his arm strength, I don't buy that one. I've watched the kid. I got some additional tape that was sent to me from the combine. He doesn't have a deficiency there. He can throw the football. He can make all the NFL throws, and he's a winner. So, you put everything together, and you gotta. The kid's a heck of a quarterback. I think he's going to play in the league. I really do.
Coach, if we're gonna make our own top 5 list here, who would you put that had the best this offseason in the NFL?
To me, the team that had the best offseason, and I've said this before, it's Tampa. To me, they're number one by quite a margin. I think Tampa had the best offseason by far. When you look at what they have done, and really put together the big picture here, I don't think anybody else is close.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I have Tampa number one on my list as well. Listen, when you bring Tom Brady in, he's already got the weapons around him. Now you've got the tight end. You draft Tristan Wirfs. The defense, you re-sign a bunch of those guys. They got a good young defense. You re-sign that dominant defensive line. You are rebuilt for success. You understand it's win-now mode, and that's what's going to be in the locker room. There's going to be a renewed sense of vigor in that locker room this year like people have never seen from some of these players. And remember, guys like Levante David, there are some ballers on that defense. It's tough whenever you have almost 40 turnovers that you have to deal with on a defense. I believe it was 37 or 38 there that these defense has to deal with. And being put in tough situations, having your back against the wall just about, for at least a third of the game moving forward. So this is going to be really fun to watch Tampa. I know Saints fans don't want to see that, but you know what? That is going to be a heck of a matchup moving forward. Coach, going to number 2 here, who would be your second best team in this NFL offseason?
Well, my top 5 could be a little different than most people. I think Dallas had a good off season. I think overall, and certainly from the draft standpoint, you might have to put Dallas at number 2, but I think there are a couple of other teams that are right in there with them.
I personally put the Cleveland Browns, and I'm drinking some of the Kool-Aid, Coach, that I've drank before, understanding I'm putting a lot of faith in Baker Mayfield and that squad. They still got a new coaching staff again, but the reason I put a little faith in it is because of the weapons they have. This is boom or bust at this point. I mean, you get Jack Conklin over there. That's a great addition to that offensive line, which that was the tremendous problem they had last year. Then you draft Jedrick Wills Jr. out of Alabama. They shore up that offensive line interiorly. And then the biggest thing people forget, they signed Austin Hooper, the good tight end right there out of Atlanta. You still got guys like Myles Garrett coming back. The defense is going to be good. Jarvis Landry, I like Jarvis Landry more than I like Odell Beckham Jr., but you still have Odell Beckham, what that could be behind there. They added a little depth with Tywan Taylor and Rashad Higgins. This is a team that is good. The thing is, though, is their division is really good. That's what's so tough. But as of off seasons that they had, I thought, look, they still got two top-tier rushers. Well, one top-tier rusher and a great third down back in that backfield as well. So a lot of this rides on Baker Mayfield. But I just feel, Coach, that Baker Mayfield's going to have not a spectacular year, but a good year, a solid year, coming back, maturing a little bit, closing his mouth, getting off these commercials. I don't know. I'm not going to say the Browns are Super Bowl bound by any means, but this is a team that I feel could make it in the wild card or maybe win that division if they can take down a team like the Steelers, who, as long as Big Ben stays healthy, they'll be really good. And then Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. I don't see the Ravens having the success they did last year, and that's where I believe that Cleveland, with this offseason they had, this could be their year, Coach.
You may be right. They're loaded with talent. There's no question about that. The only thing that the only reason I wouldn't put that number 2 is because they still are looking at a new coaching staff, a new change in terminology and offense and so on, which is going to be, and they haven't had the time to get together that you really need to install it on the field. So through OTAs and that type of thing, you just miss an awful lot there. And in their division, I think with Roethlisberger coming back in Pittsburgh and then playing as well as they did last year without him, I think they're going to be awfully, awfully tough to beat. Now, I agree with you about Baltimore. I think that people are going to get their whole card figured out this off season, and it's going to be a lot tougher for them. I don't think you can play with a single-wing tailback in the National Football League. But anyway, I know what you're saying there. Agree with you, but when you look at Dallas and the talent that they've accumulated and some of the off-season, the free agency moves, they on a very talented football team, they've added an awful lot of talent to that football team. I think, especially with the receiver position, I think and a brilliant move, a brilliant stroke was picking up the quarterback. I think that Andy Dalton. I think that was a brilliant move, and could end up being more brilliant than people realize. He could end up being their quarterback.
Yeah.
So that's why I put them at number 2, just the addition of everything that they did. And in their division, they really only have to, it's between them and Philly, I think, in that division. I don't think the Giants are quite ready yet, even though they're improved, and I don't think Washington's ready yet. So looks like Dallas has got they can hold it together and fully utilize that talent. Now, they do have a good coaching staff, but they're really veteran coaches. So that should offset some of the off-season OTA missed practices and so on. So anyway, that's why I put them number 2.
I don't disagree with you at all, Coach. Like I said, I'm drinking a little of the Kool-Aid that I'll probably end up spitting out before it's all said and done when talking about the Cleveland Browns, and it wouldn't be the first time. I want to believe that Baker Mayfield can turn it around, and I wasn't the biggest Baker Mayfield fan, but I do root for a guy that's trying to do the right thing. We'll see what happens with him, but Coach, I had Dallas at number 3, and it was close with the Browns back and forth. Number 3 here, who do you put in your list?
Indianapolis Colts. I'm telling you, watch the Colts. They picked up a quarterback, and they got the best offensive line in football, and improved on that. He's got another offensive lineman there that's going to be certainly a great depth and maybe be another starter. They got a great offensive line. They really improved their talent in the passing game, I think, with Rivers and with the addition that they got through the draft. And then they have, what's the kid's name, Ohio State, the fast.
Paris Campbell.
The kid was somebody. Yeah, Paris Campbell. If he comes back healthy, which he should, that's going to be a real shock for some people because he's going to take the top off any defense, and if they're not careful, he's going to be by people so quick. And I think a guy that can recognize that is somebody that's been around like Rivers. So I think they got a great running game. They're improved defensively. They got an outstanding coaching staff. And one other plus with their coaching staff is that they had Phillip Rivers out in San Diego when they were when Frank was out there, and also the quarterback coach was out there. So they really have a relationship there that could pay dividends for them.
Yeah, I had the Colts right there, Coach. When I look at the Colts, it's I hate to say this, me being a Titans fan, but they have made some fantastic moves. Like you talked about the offensive line, DeForest Buckner, they picked him up. A lot of people forget that, and that will shore up that D line. And that's a defense that's got some pretty dang good linebackers. That's the one thing I will say. Those guys are for real. And when you add a guy like DeForest Buckner on the front of that line, he can solidify a lot of things to help those linebackers out. And offensively, it goes without saying. I've said this about Tom Brady for people that want to talk about, well, they're too old, and then for people talking about Phillip Rivers, saying, well, we can't throw the football anymore. They'll play with a little bit of a renewed sense of being a little bit younger, drinking some of that juice that makes you feel a whole lot better now. I just say that with Phillip Rivers because he's back with his old coaches. He's got some speedsters around him. He has got some fantastic backs. And remember, they drafted Jonathan Taylor back there. Once again, this team is locked and loaded. And I thought last year, not saying that they would be Super Bowl bound, but I thought this was a team that was a quarterback away last year. Jacoby Brissett did a good job. Did a good job stepping in for Andrew Luck when Andrew Luck decided a few weeks before that he was going to retire. And all the best to Andrew Luck. We don't negate him at all, but for Jacoby Brissett, this was he is not the guy that I can see leading a team to the playoffs and beyond. I'm sorry, I like him as a player. He's a heck of a player. I know he was with the Patriots for a while, did a good job there, but this is he was not going to be the future quarterback. So the moves that the Colts made, I think, are fantastic, and it proves once again, like the Buccaneers, this Colts team is all in to win now. And remember, Frank Reich came out and said that he could see Phillip Rivers playing, at least 2 years with him. I see that too. If they have some success this year, if Phillip can stay healthy, this could be a Phillip Rivers for another couple years, Coach.
Absolutely. Plus, you're right. They picked up the best. They got the best running back in the draft by Jonathan Taylor. I mean, let me tell you, I think he's going to be not just a good back, but he's going to be an outstanding back behind that very, very good offensive line. Think about what that gives them in addition to the improved quarterback play. So, tell you what, they're a team to be. They're going to have to be reckoned with, and in the AFC, I don't care who you are. So, but I like what they've done. I think it was a heck of a year for them.
Yeah, I agree. And I hate to say that, that, but. Look, Coach, but when we come back, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to give our number 5 team on the list. Then we're going to talk about a sleeper team in the NFL that if they're not on their radar, they need to be. You need to look out for this team. We'll each give our opinions on this right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Bowling is a sport that will last you a lifetime, and at Cordova Lanes on Airport Boulevard, every night there is something exciting happening. Like on Tuesday and Thursday, it's penny a pin. Bowl 100, pay $1. Or how about starting your weekend off right by reserving a lane for just $25 at Moonlight Bowling. Enjoy a fresh-made pizza and the lowest pitcher prices in Pensacola. So what are you waiting for? It's time to roll your way into Cordova Lanes and experience fun like never before.
JP here. At ESPN Pensacola, we are hometown proud. Like the greatest pound-for-pound boxer of all time, Roy Jones Jr.
Three-time light heavyweight world champion and former heavyweight champion of the world, future Hall of Fame legend, Roy Jones Jr.
What up? It's your boy Roy Jones Jr. and you're listening to ESPN Pensacola.
Buff City Soap, new in Tiger Point Shopping Center, says go easy on your skin with their plant-based and skin-safe ingredients that you can actually pronounce. Each bar of Buff City Soap is handcrafted in-store in their soap makeries. Seriously, you can watch them make it. That means you get to see exactly what goes into the products and onto your skin. Buff City Soap, plant-based, skin-approved. Great gifts for graduates, Father's Day, or to treat yourself for a spa-like experience in the new Tiger Point Shopping Center in Gulf Breeze.
Hey, this is Chad Brillante from the Afternoon Sports Drive, and you're listening to Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL head coach Kay Stevenson on this Friday afternoon. Weekend's right around the corner. Hope you're doing well. We're talking some football as always with you. Coach, we're going to get to number 5 on our list, and we're going to talk about a sleeper team to look out for. Who is number 5 on your list of the best NFL offseason?
Well, I gave you 3, so I'm going to give you 4 and 5 here at one time. Number 4 would be the San Francisco 49ers. And number 5, I would have to agree with you on Cleveland, but they would be 5.
The 49ers are a team that you forget about over there with the offseason, the quiet offseason they had. I think that's important to remember with everybody that they brought back. And this is a team that, they were up 10 points with 11 minutes to go. So it's important to remember how good that team is. And the Jimmy G haters out there, Coach, I'll say it for you. Back off, because this guy's the real deal. You cannot put the blame on that young man for what he was able to do last year. All I'm going to say is take him away from that team, and you saw what they were. You add him to that team. There you go. And look, they added so many pieces this year, and then they did a great job in the draft as well. Coach, I'll speak of my number 5 team will be the Broncos, and the reason I say this is, once again, I'm drinking a little bit of the Kool-Aid here. I have a little bit of faith in Drew Lock. Look, Drew Lock was 4-1 last year. I thought, the way they finished the season was great when he came in, and that was with not as much talent. Now they got some speedsters over there. Now drafting Jerry Jeudy out of Alabama and KJ Hamler. Everybody that listens to the show, Coach, you know how I feel about KJ Hamler. I love the Penn State wide receiver. Of course, getting their center, Lloyd Cushenberry, out of LSU there. They drafted Tyree Cleveland, a little depth right there, the wide receiver out of Florida. And not only that, though, getting Zach Bond I thought was great for them. A.J. Bouye, Justin Simmons, getting guys like that. This is look, A.J. Bouye, I have a lot. I know that he had some trouble in Jacksonville. We'll see what happens over there. Hopefully things can calm down with him off the field. But Justin Simmons, they signed him. Justin Simmons was willing to come back on the tag. This is a team that needs to be. You need to look out for them, because I know they're with the Kansas City Chiefs, but I'm just not. I think this is a team that can make the playoffs, maybe a wild card team. But I think they'll give Kansas City a run for their money, because this is a pretty good-looking complete team. Now, once again, a lot of faith going into Drew Lock, but you know what? I'm going to buy into it. I like Drew Lock a lot, and Drew Lock doesn't have to be a superstar with the team that John Elway has built around him, Coach.
I would agree with you. I think they're right in there with anybody. And again, we have to preface. People have to remember now, this is all hype. Right. Nothing more than that from us, because we're really not going to know who did well in this year's draft for another couple of years. Then we'll know who truly had a good draft. But I would agree, it certainly looks good for Denver, and they obviously drafted to try to beat Kansas City with that speed. I think Jerry Judy's going to be an outstanding pro, and they really helped themselves. There's no doubt about it. I think they certainly with help for Locke, for Drew Locke. I tell you what, he's got to be the happiest quarterback in the league right now.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Coach. And remember, they brought in Melvin Gordon as well to help with Phillip Lindsay, and they already have Royce Freeman. This is a team that the offensive line looks good. The tight end position, remember, they have Nick Vanette coming up. They also drafted a few guys there. They have some good talent. Now they just have to put it together. Now there's no excuse, regardless, over there in Denver. And I misspoke saying Zach Bond. It was A.J. McTelvin. That's who they drafted. I knew it sounded wrong when I said it. But regardless, Coach, I want to move on real quick here. Look, sleeper team in 2020. Now, we don't know what 2020 is going to bring us. But right now, look, who is a team that you think that people should be looking out for that maybe aren't on anybody's radar right now?
The Colts. Just talking about them improving to the extent that they have. Now, I would say Tampa Bay, but I don't think too many people have left them off their list. But I'm sure that not too many people have the Colts mentioned the Colts up on their list too high. But I think as a dark horse, you got to any team that can possibly put together what they could do when you take that offensive line, a good defense and improving defense, and they've given additional tools and talent to Rodgers. That they can control the football and make that whole football team better. Similar, I think, not to the extent that Tom Brady can, but I think to a great extent, I think Phillip Rivers is going to make their football team better. The same way we talked about Brady making the Bucs better from A to Z. So for that reason, I really think the Colts they have a dark horse shot at it. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to disagree on that. It's Coach, I can't pick them because I don't want it to be true. I really think the Colts are the real deal this year. I've said that before. I agree with you on that. I'm going to stick with what the team I just talked about in the Denver Broncos. I think they're under the radar. I think that's where they want to be right now. And once again, it goes back to there's not a lot of pressure on Drew Lock because he doesn't have to be a superstar. He performed pretty well last year with just Cortland Sutton out there at wide receiver. And I think, look, John Elway, it's took him a while. They've went through some rough patches. They've went through some rough quarterbacks, if you want to say that, with Joe Flacco and Trevor Siemian and all those guys. It's just not a good situation there. Now he's got Drew Lock, and I like how he's built around Drew Lock, not continuing to go get these other guys. He has some faith in Drew Lock. I like what they're doing there, and I'm not going to say they're going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. They're going to up in the champions. What I will say is be very cautious on the Kansas City Chiefs. This is a team that we'll see because, they've lost some of their defensive guys. They'll have some coming back with Steve Spagnuolo and those guys. They did a great job. The defense got better as it went along when you talk about the playoffs, but this is a team that relies on let's just run up the score. Let's run around. Let's throw the football. I just don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know how long you can do that in the NFL, Coach. You coach in the NFL. When I look at this, I'll go for a team like the Broncos that is sound defensively, that added some more weapons defensively, and then offensively realized the problem they had and wanted to move forward. And that's why I'm going to pick the Broncos to be the team to watch for. But nonetheless, Coach, I do agree with you on the Colts right there. But listen, we got to go to a quick break. When we come back, going to get your take on this, Coach. Mike Tomlin talking about, look, he's worried that the rookies coming into the league won't have enough time to get ready like they normally would here. And how would you deal with it being an NFL or former NFL coach? We'll talk about that when we come back right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text. Stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
There's only one place in town for the lowest prices and greatest selection of firearms. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Visit our fully stocked Gun Pro Shop for new and used firearms, accessories, and ammunition. Check out the Indoor Shooting Range. We offer rentals on guns, including fully automatic machine guns and silencers. Ladies, this is the safe place to learn how to use a gun. Plus, Tuesday is Ladies' Day. Women shoot for half price all day. The best place to buy firearms in Pensacola. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Highway 29 in Car City.
How would you like a brand new refrigerator, stove, washer, dryer, dishwasher, and other appliances up to 50% off retail with a 1-year factory warranty? Nameless Freight Outlet has the best prices around on new scratch and dent Frigidaire and Electrolux appliances that you must check out if you want to save money. They also have furniture and thousands of other items 20 to 80% off every day. Nameless Freight Outlet, 3736 North Palafox Street, Pensacola, home of the truckload sale.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL head coach Kay Stevenson on this Friday afternoon. Hope everybody's doing well. Final segment of the show. Coach, I know we got a couple minutes here, but Mike Tomlin coming out, of course, talking about he's worried about his rookies' readiness, and not just his, but across the league moving forward. And now, I understand, listen, everybody's against the gun here, but my question to you is not, how do you get guys necessarily ready moving forward? I think everybody has the same game plan here. But do you think that the offseason that we've had now, that this is going to affect a guy like Joe Burrow? Now, I say Joe Burrow first because he's healthy and ready to go. I think this will affect Tua. But, Coach, do you think it's going to have a big effect on Joe Burrow? And maybe, look, we know he's the guy in Cincinnati, that he'll have some early season struggles moving forward.
Well, that's something you really don't know. You have to speculate on that. Let's put it this way. It's not as good as having had the time to do everything that you want to do in the tertiary. But I'm sure they're working overtime to get him everything that really needs, given the circumstances. And they don't need to worry about what may or may not be the case. Whatever time they're given, just like it and lump it and get ready to play. And don't worry about anything else, what may have been. That's just going to be the name of the game now.
Yeah, I agree. And, Coach, before we go, I just saw something interesting from the University of Florida talking about, of course, with the the approval of June 8th moving forward here, that they're going to bring players, and players will start being tested as early as May 26th to start phasing them in. They said that's what's going to happen here. It's going to be phases. So, listen, we're getting some good signs moving forward with college football. That, of course, that's the Florida Gators. They released theirs just recently. I'm sure we'll start seeing some other teams release their stuff. But nonetheless, we're getting positive signs moving forward. But, Coach, as usual, that sound means it's time for us to go. Had a pretty good show today, but you know what? We didn't get to everything. We'll try again Monday. But, Coach, it's been a pleasure.
You bet. Have a good weekend.
You too, Coach. Appreciate it. And we appreciate our listeners out there as well. Listen, we'll be back Monday talking some football with you right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gullick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, sports call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
First Take Your Take on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80, and ESPN News. presented by Progressive Insurance. I'm Jason Fitz. Let's get you started out with the headlines that you need to know. It's a good year for Naomi Osaka. Wow. She's been a Grand Slam champion and number one in the WTA rankings. Now she's number one on another list. Top earning female athlete. Congratulations. According to a story posted on Forbes.com on today, the 22-year-old player earned $37.4 million from June 1, 2019 to June 1, 2020 from endorsements and prize money, which brings her up past Serena Williams in that span. So congratulations to Osaka, who comes in for a one-year record for a female athlete. She tops the previous mark that had been held by Maria Sharapova from that in 2015. So number 29 overall, Williams is number 33, but she takes number one for the top earning female athlete. Congratulations to her. Next up on the headlines, the SEC is going to announce, or has announced today, that athletes can begin using facilities on campus for voluntary workouts June 8th under strict supervision of designated university personnel and safety guidelines developed by each university. So presidents and chancellors from the SEC's 14 universities are the ones who make the final call after extensive conversations within the league involving the commissioner, Greg Sankey, athletic directors, and medical officials. So we'll see what this means moving forward. Remember, the NCAA Division I Council already lifted the moratorium on workouts with its vote on Wednesday, allowing voluntary on-campus activities to resume in football and men's and women's basketball starting June 1st. We'll see how this works for each school moving forward. And lastly, a sad headline for the NBA community and Utah Jazz fans. Longtime Jazz coach and legend Jerry Sloan has died at the age of 78 today. The Jazz announced Sloan died from complications from Parkinson's disease and Lewy body dementia, which he revealed in diagnosis for in April of 2016. The quote, Jerry Sloan will always be synonymous with the Utah Jazz. He will forever be a part of the Utah Jazz organization, and we join his family, friends, and fans in mourning his loss. That's part of what the team had to say in their official statement today. First Take, your take on ESPN Radio, ESPN News. I'm Jason Fitz. We're asking you guys to round out your foursome. You get to pick a pro golfer, one other athlete, and one celebrity. We're doing this in honor of this weekend's matchup. They'll get the rematch between Phil and Tiger, and with that, they're now adding Brady and Peyton. So with all eyes being on that on Sunday, the question is, how would you round out your foursome? One pro golfer, one other athlete, and one celebrity. That's what we're asking you to do. 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776. That's how you get in on the conversation. David in Dallas, give me your foursome. How are you rounding out your foursome?
I'd like to see Snoop Dogg as my celebrity, Rob Gronkowski as my athlete, and Vijay Singh to round off the golfer.
Okay, why VJ? I got the other two. The whys on the other two are easy. Why VJ?
Because it would be comic relief watching such a stringent kind of cut and dry person have to deal with Rob Gronkowski and Snoop Dogg.
That is epic. Now let's acknowledge here that I don't think most of us would be ready to party at the level that Snoop can or at the level that Gronk can. So I'd only be good in that cart for about 3 holes of golf before they would be functioning and I would be laid out making just an absolute ass of myself. So, but I love all of that. 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776. Let's get one more in here. Let's go to Josh in Ohio. Josh, what do you got? What's your foursome? How are you rounding them out?
Thanks, Jason, for the call. I got Tiger Woods, Steph Curry, and Adam Taylor.
Why Steph in that one?
Well, I heard the other day on the radio on one of the talk shows about how Steph has been really passionate about golf, and I say he's really good at it. So I love watching him as the player. So I think it'd be cool to. I mean, you talk about having a good chance to win. I think him and Tiger would give you a chance to win.
Yeah, no. I look, if you're out there to win, I think Steph might give you a better shot than some, for sure. You know, I'm not sure you have as much fun on that. Maybe you do, but maybe you do. I don't know. There's the different approaches. Some of you guys are building it to try and make a love connection. I've learned that. Some of you guys are building your foursome to try and have some fun, and then some of you guys are trying to win. I guess the amount of money at stake would also be a factor. So we'll keep taking your take, but let's get to some Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. And that comes in the form of an NBA conversation. There is at least a concept now that the NBA may play its season out in 2 different sites, one being Orlando, the other likely Las Vegas, as they can do the Eastern Conference on one side and the Western Conference on the other. They can put everybody respectively in those areas and then look at a 1 through 16 seeding of the playoffs. So with the Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, Stephen A. and Jalen Rose broke down their concepts of what the NBA is talking about today on First Take.
I don't just like it, I love it. and Max, I really love the two locations. And I want to clarify something that I saw you guys debating yesterday. It would be, in theory, trying to play in teams 7 through 10 in the playoff race, which would mean you're talking about 20 teams, 10 from the West, 10 from the East. You divide the Western teams in Vegas, the Eastern teams in Florida. And if you think about it like that and you do that math, that's basically 150 people. Vegas can accommodate that. Florida can accommodate that. And I'm talking about just players. And like you just alluded to, Max, you can inflate the support staff as much as you want, and it could be 1,000 people. And you're now dividing that into half. So therefore, 500 on the East, 500 in the South, and 500 in the West. I think that creates the bubble that can insulate them enough. And for everybody, don't feel so very bad. The accommodations will be plush. It's not like it's going to be 15 people staying in a one-bedroom apartment. Like, they're going to have their plenty of great accommodations to help pull this off. And I really like engaging 20 fan bases. Now you have squads that were 7 through 10 excited about being in it. The intrigue of what if a Portland gets in? Can they upend the Lakers? Can they play against the Los Angeles Lakers? What about in the East? Is Philadelphia going to get healthy with Embiid and Ben Simmons? And so this creates a level of intrigue and enthusiasm, and I think it'll be a fantastic idea if the NBA can pull it off.
Jalen and Max, there is something that we did not broach, and I'm going to bring it up right now because I think everybody should be absolutely positively excited about what I'm about to say. Jalen, lean back in your seat and get ready for what I'm about to throw at you, bro. Remember all those conversations that we've had? Not East, not West, just the top 16 seeds, the best 16 teams, and put them in the playoffs. But the hesitancy was with, you know, if LA was number 1, hypothetically, and Boston was number 8, or number 16, then you